Iron Fury is an authentic build engine shooter. Its faithfulness is both its greatest strength and biggest flaw. Built on the same technology as classic 3D Realms titles, it captures the same old school charm and gameplay that people remember. It also inherits the repetitive combat, uneven pacing, and build engine jank that modern shooters have evolved past. For this video, I'm only covering the base game and not the Aftershock DLC. Let's get into it. If you've played Duke Nukem 3D, Blood, or Shadow Warrior, Iron Fury will feel familiar. Levels follow a predictable flow of exploration, hunting keycards, and clearing areas of enemies. As you progress, scripted ambushes and explosions trigger at predictable moments, and after enough repetition, the novelty starts to wear thin. Whether the loop feels comfortable or monotonous will depend on your tolerance for the design of boomer shooters. Once the shooting starts, the familiarity works in Iron Fury's favor. Shooting feels precise and consistent, with headshots often registering cleanly. Body shots take more time to kill enemies, but I rarely feel that the game robbed me with inconsistent hit detection. Whilst Iron Fury can be fast-paced, the level design leans towards a linear, cover-based design instead of an arena shooter. Enemies will easily overwhelm the player on higher difficulties with their strength in numbers. For anyone playing on higher difficulties, these encounters will feel manageable with a more methodical approach. The gunplay is solid, but the arsenal lacks both personality and variety to keep things interesting across the campaign. The guns are competent, but they're standardized weapons with alternate fire modes that don't feel distinct enough to change how the encounters play out. By the end of the second episode, you'll already have collected your entire arsenal. For a rough 8 to 10 hour experience where the main focus is shooting, it creates a monotonous pace as the game showed its cards too early. The difficulty can certainly help to reduce the monotony. On the lower difficulty, the weapon choices are trivialized. However, harder difficulties create situations where certain guns are more practical. Despite that, the arsenal doesn't develop an identity to keep the gameplay fresh. What does keep the levels fresh are the amount of secrets in the game. Some are obvious and others are quite obtuse. The secrets are hidden in plain sight, making me feel like an idiot when watching a guide. I think it's unreasonable to expect most players to find everything without a guide. Secrets and the total kill counter are often intertwined. I would recommend trying to complete both, as enemy spawns are tied to secrets. You'll have to utilize tools such as the radar to find all the little bastards. Frustratingly, the radar doesn't detect mech sets in the vents. More than once, I'd run around like a headless chicken, not realizing I missed some slightly discolored panel I was meant to shoot. If you wish to keep your sanity, play alongside a guide. Speaking of bastards, the enemies are perhaps the biggest disappointment in the game. To the game's credit, they are fairly balanced. The attacks are delayed hit scans. I appreciate that players are given a chance to dodge attacks, unlike the instant punishment I experienced in Blood. The problem is that fairness doesn't equate to interesting encounters. Enemy behavior is straightforward. They're often stationary, firing on occasion, and repositioning. Other than strafing into cover and shooting, there's no challenge to them. For a majority of encounters, the challenge is the management of enemy swarms, and not attacks themselves. The level design is at its best when it forces tight encounters, not when it's an open field. Whilst the difficulty certainly plays a part in encounters, aggressive enemies such as Wendigos keep you on your heels, but a majority of useless enemies such as cultists or liberators don't. A majority of this game is killing repeated enemies, following the same triggers. To have a more memorable experience, I would recommend a harder difficulty, so the variety changes more frequently and the threats are more imminent. No one plays a boomer shooter with the expectation of a deep story, and the developers knew this. Shelley works as a great protagonist, as she has that sharp, witty, and irreverent attitude like her predecessors. Her one-liners give her a personality that stands out, and I wish we just got to see more of it. The level design is easily the best part of the game. Each episode is broken down into distinct stages, but the layouts are so cohesive, they feel less like isolated levels and more like interconnected sections of a larger zone. Institutionalized takes you from the bottom of a corporate office up to the top with swanky offices, down to the dirty server rooms. Country Carnage transitions from these disgusting sewers into this creepy haunted house before taking the player into this industrial plant in the ordinary laboratory. The sense of continuity gives each episode a strong identity, and that makes exploration consistently engaging, even if the combat can feel lacking. Iron Fury nails the visual aesthetic that a boomer shooter should have. The stark contrast between the neon glow and bloodstained walls elicits a deep satisfaction. If you're playing a boomer shooter, you want the bastards to explode appropriately, and the game delivers that. The chunky sprite gore scattered throughout the level tells the story itself, along with small touches such as the ability to casually kick severed heads across the room. It perfectly reinforces the irreverent tone that Shelley brings through her one-liners. That said, the enemies look great to shoot, but the lighting can be frustrating. I appreciated the dynamic shading and how the light sources casted onto the environments and enemies. Once the neon environments are ditched for colder, more industrial palettes, the enemy's readability suffers. Darker, contained areas with heavier shadows and less vibrant colors can cause enemies to blend into the environments. It creates this visual clutter that can negatively affect visual clarity during intense moments. What pairs well with shooting enemies with a shotgun? Kick-ass music motivating you to shoot enemies with a shotgun. The electronic soundtrack of the game is great to listen to. It's not emotionally evocative compared to prior 3D Realms games, but it's consistently stimulating and keeps you energized. The music is appropriate for each moment, even if it doesn't particularly stand out. I found the track progression was often repetitive whilst I was doing my completion run. Listening to repeated progressions continuously doesn't feel as effective as a dynamic soundtrack. During an initial playthrough, the static soundtrack can become a drain on your ears whilst traversing areas for secrets. The game's sound effects are very crunchy. Paired with the violent animations, the gun sounds enhance the chaotic soundscape. Unlike prior 3D Realms games, which had 8-bit sampled audio, Iron Fury has much higher quality samples that sound much cleaner. In my opinion, audio often makes a game feel more dated, and higher sample rates keep the game sounding modern without betraying the classic aesthetic. The achievements and save system was the core reason that delayed this video. Completion achievements were often bugged or unreliably triggered. I do not appreciate having to visit Steam forums to understand conditions to get achievements, such as enemy completion or secrets not triggering correctly. It doesn't help at all that secrets and enemies must be found in one playthrough. This makes it more frustrating when spending 40 minutes in one level to find one hidden mech sect. Broken achievements are unforgivable for myself, especially since I had gotten all of the base game achievements and the final achievement did not unlock. Yes, I did post on the developer Discord. No, I did not get a solution. Despite never cheating or changing my save file, something within the game binary did not trigger the final achievement. This made for a disappointing experience as an achievement hunter. Iron Fury effectively brings back the energy of past 3D Realms titles because it succeeds and stumbles for the same reasons those games did back then. The excellent level design, flashy gore, and crunchy audio are all commendable. The commitment to this style of gameplay does also retain the repetitive combat, build engine jank, and other quirks that modern 3D shooters evolve past. For anybody interested in an authentic boomer shooter, this game may just be for you. For anybody accustomed to modern indie competitors, this game is not made to compete with those titles. It's made for those who fell in love with older boomer shooters that defined an era, not those who wanted to see the genre evolve. And of course, that brings us to the end of the video. Whether you agree or disagree, let me know your thoughts on this game, perhaps your favorite boomer shooter, and what other games I should try playing next. Thank you for watching.